Um, Welcome to the session 3, Program BCom, subject Computer Application for Business and E-commerce. The session topic is Computer Generation. In the previous session, we have seen the characteristic features of computer and how the evolution of computer takes place to the present form. The learning objective of the session is to learn the generations of the computer. The session outcomes are the students will know the generations of computer, that is computer generations. So we'll see what a generation of computer is, or the computer generation is. The first electronic computer which was designed and built, it was built at the University of Pennsylvania. It was based on the vacuum tube technology. So the first electronic computer, it was based on the vacuum tube technology. So here the vacuum tubes, they were used to perform the logical operations and also to store the data. See, based on the development of technologies, based on this development of technologies, so the computer generations has been divided into five. So here the technologies means it depends on the processors that has been used, the memories and the IO units used. So it is mainly according to your development of the technologies. So the generation of computers has been divided into five. So the first generation of computers, it is from the year we consider 1945 to 55, and the second generation of computers is considered from the year 1955 to 65. It is the duration period. Third generation is from 1965 to 75. Fourth generation is from 1975 to 89, and the fifth generation, it is from 1989 to the present. So we'll see one by one. First, we'll see the first generation. So in the first generation computers, the vacuum tubes were used. So here the basic arithmetic operations, so they actually took a few milliseconds. So for the basic operations to be performed, so it took like few milliseconds, and this first generation computers were bulky and they consumed more power and there was a limited performance, and the cost of this first generation computers was also high. And the first generation computers, they made use of the assembly level language. So this assembly level language was used to prepare the programs, and these programs were converted, or you can say it was translated into your machine level language for the execution. So any program that has been written, so it has to be translated into the machine level language for the execution to takes place. And there was a fixed point arithmetic that was used, and 100 to 1000 fold increase in the speed, which was relative to the earlier mechanical and relay based electromechanical technology. So there was an increase in the speed, that is to 100 to 1000 fold. There was an increase in speed when we compare with the earlier mechanical or the relay based electromechanical technologies. And there were punched cards that was used, and the paper tapes were invented so that we can feed the program. So these two were used, the paper tapes as well as the punched cards. They were used to feed the programs and the data so that we can get the result. And there was magnetic tape and the magnetic drum which was used, that is has the secondary memory. For the secondary memory, so mainly magnetic tape and the magnetic drum was used. So it was mainly used for your scientific calculations. For the scientific calculations, the first generation computers were used. See, few of the examples of your first generation computers are, we have electronic numerical integrator and calculator, that is ENIAC. We have electronic delay storage automatic calculator, that is ETSAC. Then we have electronic discrete variable automatic computer, that is EDVAC. Then you have UNIVAC, that is universal automatic computer, IBM 701. So these are the few examples of your first generation computers. So in the image you can see it's a first generation computer. So next we'll see the second generation. So in the second generation computers, mainly the transistors were used. So instead of vacuum tubes, so the transistors were used. And these transistors, they were invented at the AT&T Bell lab, that is in 1947. So instead of the vacuum tubes, the transistors was used. And these were small in size when you compare to the first generation. So the second generation computers, they were small in size, and the power consumption was also lesser, and it was giving a better performance, and the cost of the second generation computers was also lower cost. So there was like magnetic tapes and the magnetic disk. Here also the magnetic tapes and the magnetic disk, they were used as your secondary memory. So there was an hardware, that is for the floating point arithmetic operations was developed. For the floating point, in the sense for your decimal point arithmetic operations, for those arithmetic operations there was an hardware which was built for that. So they made use of the index registers. Index registers were also introduced, so which actually increased the flexibility of the programming. So high level languages were used like your Fortran as well as COBOL. So all these high level languages was used. So and there was compilers which were developed. So compilers were mainly developed so that you could translate the high level program that is into your corresponding assembly level program, and again which was later translated into your machine language. So since the programming languages like your COBOL and Fortran, they were the high level languages, there was the compilers which were actually developed so that you could translate your high level program that is into the corresponding assembly level language program, and then again it was translated into your machine language. See this second uh, generation computers, they were increasingly used in the business or the industries or in like commercial organizations, that is for some preparations like your payroll or inventory control, your marketing, production planning, research, scientific and the engineering analysis and the design, for all these sectors. So it was mainly used. So here there was an increase in speed, like there was 1,000-fold increase in speed. Here also the punch cards were used. Punch card, it was used here also. So we'll see a few of the examples of your second generation computers. We have IBM 7094, IBM 1620, CDC 1604, CDC 3600, and we have UNIVAC 1108. So the image that we have, it shows it is a second generation computer. So next we'll see the third generation. So in the third generation computers, ICs were used. IC is your integrated circuits. So your ICs were used instead of the transistors, and here the small scale integration and the medium scale integration technology, it was implemented, that is in the CPUs or in your IO processors. So small scale integration as well as the medium scale integration technology was implemented in the CPU or the IO processors, that is input output processors. So it was smaller. The third generation computers, they were smaller and they had a better performance. So this was comparatively, we got it for a lesser price. There was a lesser cost, and the processor was fast. The processing speed was fast. So in the beginning, the magnetic core memories were used. So in the initial days, they were using the magnetic core memories. So later, this was actually replaced by the semiconductor memories. So semiconductor memories are like your RAM or the ROM. And micro programming was introduced. So micro programming concept was introduced. There were like other things like parallel processing, parallel processing, multi programming, multi user systems. So these things were introduced. So parallel processing in the sense like it is for the pipelining or multiprocessor systems, for those things it was used. Multi-user system in the sense that is it is like a time shared concept, that is many users can use the system. So all these new concepts were introduced. So even the operating system software was introduced. That is how efficiently you can share a computer system, that is by several user programs. So there will be many user programs. So how efficiently a computer system can share, that is a sharing can be done, that is among the several user programs. So therefore the operating system software was also introduced. And there was cache and virtual memories were introduced. So we know that the cache memory, it makes your main memory appear faster than it really is. Okay, so your cache memory is very faster when you take your other like main memory or your primary memory or your secondary memory. So your cache memory, it is very fast. And virtual memory, what does it make is that it will make look like, it will appear like it is larger. And there were high level languages which were used, like your, that is ANSI, Photon, ANSI, COBOL. So they were standardized by ANSI. Okay, they were standardized by the ANSI. So there were many applications like your database management, multi-user applications, or your online systems like the closed loop process control, or your airline reservations, interactive query systems, automatic industry control, etc. So these things, they emerge during this period. That is how a database can be managed. Your, if there will be a multi-user applications where multiple users can access your applications, there were many online systems like your closed loop process control, and there was airline reservation systems, there was an interactive query systems, automatic industrial control. So all these things emerged during this period. And some of the examples are IBM 360 series, Honeywell 6000 series, PDP, that is personal data processor, IBM 370 slash 168, we have TDC 316. So the image, it shows your third generation computer. Next, we'll see the fourth generation computers. So in the fourth generation computers, microprocessors were introduced. So microprocessors that were introduced as your CPUs. So here the complete processors and the large section of your main memory, so it was implemented in a single chip. So the processor what we have and the main memory, the large section of your main memory, so it was just implemented in a single chip. So here what happened was there were tens of thousands of transistors. They were placed in a single chip. So many transistors, that is like tens of thousands of transistors, they were placed in a single chip. That is your VLSI design that was implemented. Okay, so there is CRT screen, the CRT screen we have, there is laser and inkjet printers, scanners were developed. So in during this generation, so there was CRT screens, laser and inkjet printers, the scanners were introduced. Semiconductor memory chips, they were used as the main memory. So semiconductor memory chips like your RAM and ROM, so they were used as your main memory. There were secondary memories which were composed of your hard disk, like your floppy disk or the magnetic tapes. They were used for your backup memory in order to that is back up the data. So your floppy disk and the magnetic tapes were used. So there were some applications that were used like your parallelism, uh, then pipelining, cache memory, and the virtual memory. So they were applied in a very better manner. So LAN and WANs, they were developed where your desktop systems, they will be interconnected. So if you want to interconnect your systems, so in those case LANs and WANs, they were developed. So it even the C language and the Unix OS is being introduced during this period, and there is a graphic user interface that has been there. So the power consumption, it takes a very less power consumption, and it has a higher performance. There is a lower cost, and it is very compact. So the performance is high and the cost is low, it consumes less power, so it is very compact, and there is much increase in the speed of the operation. If you consider the speed of the operation, there is much increase in the speed of the operation. And there was microprocessors also that was introduced as your CPUs. And some of the examples here are that we have IBM 4341, PDP-11, DEC-10, Star 1000, Apple II. We have Intel's 8088, 80286, 80386. So these are few of the examples of the fourth generation computers, and the image that is being shown as the fourth generation computer. So next we'll see the fifth generation. See, the fifth generation computers, they have used occasionally, that is to describe some of your current computer system that has a dominant organizational or application driven feature. So nowadays the computers which are based on your artificial intelligence, they are available, and computers which use the extensive parallel processing. So there is a parallel processing, multiple pipelines, multiple processors. So where this computers, they use the extensive uh, parallel processing, multiple pipelines and multiple processors. So there are massive parallel machines and extensively distributed system which is being connected by communication networks. They actually fall under this category. So if you take a massive parallel machines and any distributed system, so which is being connected over networks, so this will fall under this category. And there was an introduction of the ultra large scale integration. So ultra large scale integration, that is ULSI technology, was introduced, and the Intel's Pentium 4 microprocessor. So this actually contains 55 million transistors, that is of components on the single IC chip. If you consider a single IC chip, so your Intel's Pentium 4 microprocessor, it contains 55 million transistors, millions of components, that is on just a single IC chip, that is your integrated circuit chip. So here the superscalar processors and vector processors, SIMD processors, 32-bit microcontrollers and embedded processors, digital signal processors have been developed. So there are different kinds of processors that has been developed during this period of generation, like your superscalar processors, vector processors, uh, SIMD processor, 32-bit microcontrollers, there are embedded processors, digital signal processors, etc. So these has been developed during this period. So if you take the microchips, they are up to 1 GB, and you know your hard disks, they are up to like 180 GB, and your optical disk, they're up to 27 GB. These things are available. See, nowadays you can see you have the hard disk of 1 tera, 2 tera, 3 tera, like that. So the memory chips, so there is, the capacity is being increasing day by day. So that is one thing. So the memory chips of more capacity is being increasing. So there is like other object oriented languages like the Java, so which is mainly suitable for your internet programming. It has been developed. So with Java, it is a high level language. So this is being introduced. And the portable notebook computers were introduced. Then the storage technology is being advanced, how the storage should takes place, the large main memory, and how the disk storage is being available, all these things is introduced. And the world wide web is introduced, and there are other existing applications like how the email, e-commerce, virtual libraries, or the virtual classes, then multimedia applications, etc. can be considered. See, got hot pluggable features. There are certain pluggable features, so which will actually enable a failed component. So if there is any failed component, so this will enable that failed component to be replaced with a new one, that is with the need to shut down the system. So when there is any failure, when there is any failed component, and this failed component will be replaced with a new one, that is without the need to shut down the system, this will allow the uptime of the system that is to be very high. So it has got many hot pluggable features. So the more recent development that is in the application of the internet we consider is the grid technology. So which is also which is still in its in its upcoming stage. There are other techniques like your quantum mechanism and nanotechnology, which is being radically what will change the face of your computers. So nowadays you can see there is artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, quantum mechanism. All these technologies are changing the computers day by day. This is about the fifth generation. So we have seen the generations of computers, that is we have first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation and the fifth generation. So these are the references. Thank you.